Now, what does readily achievable mean? Here is the actual definition out of Part 36 of the Code of easily accomplishable and able to be carried out without much difficulty or expense. Factors to include are the nature and cost of the action needed under this part, the overall financial resources of the site involved, the action, the number of persons, and so forth. So it's very vague. There was a lot of dialogue on this. Should we say 20% of your annual budget? No one size fits all. A $5,000 ramp in Walmart is totally different than mom and pop flower shops. Comes down to case by case. McDonald's was around since the 60s, thousands of restaurants all over the United States. The ADA came in the early 90s. Outside of California and New York, maybe, they didn't have an obligation to do anything accessible because they were private entity. They were just exempt, especially under the feds. 1991, readily achievable came in. And a lot of those entities didn't do anything until they got sued. And then they made it a company-wide priority. They hire the architects, everything. They have ADA consultants making sure all that stuff's compliant. Take that same time, let's say it was a single mom and pop shop. They had the same obligation to look at their one facility. They're barely making rent. Their obligation now is much different. And so now under the readily achievable, it might get drawn out a little longer for mom and pop. Somewhere in between is where most of these entities will land. And then number two, what is defensible? I've worked with clients that I've done a survey. There's probably 25 things out of the 30 in my report you could implement tomorrow. Ignore me. 6 months later, they get sued.